Alright guys, so I just got finished with watching WWE Evolution. WWE Evolution. What was my opinion of the show? You guys think probably asking me, do you think it was a success? Do I feel that this was a beneficial pay-per-view for women? Let me put it to you this way, guys. No matter what they would have done at this event was bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. And here is the reason why. There's too much political reasoning behind having this event. The event had no organic feeling to it, no realism, it felt forced. So no matter what they were going to do, no matter how good the matches were, and no doubt about it, there were some really good matches on this card, but at the end of the day, it didn't get what it deserved. First off, we kick off the show with horrible technical issues. First time ever heard this happen. They go ahead, they do the promo video to hype up the event before they start the show, and usually with an introduction by Michael Cole and the rest of the broadcast team. Well, as they're going ahead and doing this, you can't even hear Michael Cole barely at all. That smells a recipe for disaster right there. A technician guy told him that your mic isn't working. He was talking the whole entire time like he normally does to introduce the broadcast team and the actual show to the audience on camera. Well, while they circle the camera around the arena to show off all the people in the arena. While they're doing that, you can't hear a fucking word Michael Cole is saying. With that being said, you're already starting off on a very bad start. So to fix issues, apparently they put this in this scenario. They started up the female rock band, which, by the way, was very good. Probably I would prefer listening to them than listening to Michael Cole ramble his mouth off, based on the fact that he's so fucking scripted and sounds ridiculous. Give him the opportunity to talk like a normal person, probably isn't all that bad anyway. Which, back in the day, in the early 2000s, when he had a full-time broadcasting job with SmackDown, he wasn't that bad. I actually didn't mind listening to him, and he hyped up matches pretty well. Not as good as JR, but still decent. A lot better than what he does now. So that's one of the issues I had with it. The other issue is we had a main event matchup between Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey for the WWE Championship. The Raw Women's Championship belt was on the line in the main event. Now, I get Ronda Rousey's there. She's a big name. She's money. She's definitely a money-making type of person for WWE for a female wrestling division. Because she revolutionized women combat sports all across the world. So, with her being in the main event, I get that. But, when you have a match with Becky Lynch and Charlotte, who actually started women's wrestling Evolution, and they had the match that they had, especially with it being a last woman's standing match. They're saying it's a first time ever, supposedly, but we all know, if you followed NXT, you know that fucking Nikki Cross and Asuka had that opportunity. But I guess if you want to refer to the women, to the WWE main roster having it as the first women's ever last man standing match type deal, okay, I guess you can go with that. But with the match that these two women had, between the two of them, I'm sorry. You can't make Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey the main event. And even if you're going to make Ronda Rousey be in the main event over Becky Lynch and Charlotte's their matchup, you better pick a better opponent. Maybe a technician wrestler, someone that's more believable. If Chyna was still alive, that I would have made the fucking main event. Chyna versus versus Ronda Rousey would have been an outstanding main event match. That I would have been okay with being the main event. You could have definitely seen something unbelievable and mind-boggling to see two women that revolutionized women sports all across the world. And Chyna was definitely a revolutionary figure in women's wrestling. I mean, she fucking competed against men, for God's sakes. So, with all that being withstood in this scenario, that would have been a more believable matchup than a fucking match with Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey. And I gotta tell you, that would have worked a lot better, in my opinion, than going with a fucking horrendous main event match like what we saw. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, Nikki Bella gave her a shot for her money, bruised her up, but it was all orchestrated. It definitely plays into, you can tell this is a fixed load of bullshit. Because honestly, in all reality, Ronda Rousey could fucking beat Nikki Bella in less than 2 minutes. Actually, less than a minute. But bottom line is, guys, that main event was not noteworthy as a main event matchup. I don't care if you got Ronda Rousey or not on the card. That was not a main event matchup. A match with Natalya would have been good, since she's alive. But Nikki Bella, no fucking way. Ain't working for me. Sorry. So, at that point right there, that being the second part of this whole situation being a flawed load of bullshit, did not like that. So that's another part of the show that failed miserably. I did not like it. Granted, Ronda Rousey impressed me very much, even though she was with a fucking crappy competitor to have to go up against. She did a well job against Nikki Bella. She performed and showed things that were unreal, which I'll get into in the review. The rest of it, the third straw to this whole situation was the match card itself. The match card itself was weak. It did not have a good quality match card. I mean, I can go one by one all the matches, alright? We'll just roll right into it right now and go over each match, the result of the match, who won, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go in play by play of what happened and all that, but I will go ahead and give you guys the results of each and every match and what my opinion was overall for the match itself. First match of the night, we get Lita and Trish Stratus kicking off the show against Alicia Fox and Mickie James. Okay. This match was a decent opener. I enjoyed it. Had an enjoyable time. And Mickie James lost to Trish Stratus. End of that story. Match was back and forth. Good wrestling overall. Some botch moves here and there, but that's to be expected in this matchup with the other two women that were in this match with Trish Stratus and Lita. Alicia Fox definitely had some botch moves in the whole thing. Let's see here. The Battle Royal to determine the number one contender for a women's championship on whatever brand they're on. They had legendary names like Andrea Blaze, Maria Kanellis, Molly Holly. Like, why are these women on this show? I understand they had something to do with women's wrestling from back in the day, but they're not on a brand. So how does that fucking work in the first place? Do they just magically appear on Raw or SmackDown and just say, "Here I am, I'm here, I want a championship title match"? Like, come on, man. Fucking retarded bullshit. At the end of the day, Nia Jax picks up the victory by eliminating Amber Moon. And I have to say this. I do believe that Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey will have a very good match. They had a good match the last time at Money in the Bank earlier this year. But why Nia Jax right now? They needed to develop her and get her up to in a more prominent role to make her look like she deserves a fucking number one contenders match with Ronda Rousey. Come on, man. That's fucking bullshit. Amber Moon deserved to win that matchup. One, she's been on a roll. I've heard that she's been winning. She hasn't been a loser. Two, she's one of the better female wrestlers. She can also do technician wrestling at times. She had great match with Shayna Baszler as another way of showing that she can compete against a female MMA fighter that had some experience in real sports where it's not fixed and they actually really hit each other hard and for real. So Amber Moon would have been a perfect fit and a good matchup for Ronda Rousey, as well as for the fans to see on a pay-per-view card. I do understand why they're giving her this opportunity. She kind of, the match didn't have really a conclusion ending to it, but at the same time, come on, man. You don't give that to fucking Nia Jax. Give it to her later on down the road and get her back on the television set and have her start winning matches against notable names. That was just bullshit, man. I just did not like that. Granted, did she deserve to be as the final two with Amber Moon? Yeah, why not? She's a big woman. She's hard to eliminate, but for her to win? No, I just totally disagree with all of that. That was just bullshit. And, I mean, it's going to be a good match. I'm not stating that. But to make it more elevating and give you the opportunity to see this woman in a bigger-than-life type of status and look important as a major threat to that WWE Women's Championship to Ronda Rousey, you need to build her up. And they didn't do any of that. So, do I really give a fuck? No. Do I really believe she's even got a shot? No. I don't believe she's gonna win. And that's the problem. If you go ahead and you were to build her up, beating notable names on Raw, and having her be in a dominating fashion, making her demanding a shot for the women's title against Ronda Rousey, and whatnot, and have her dominate here and there against Ronda, I might actually be a believer that she might have a chance of actually winning. But no, they don't do that. And in Amber Moon's case, her winning the match and going on to face Ronda Rousey, bottom line is Amber Moon would not win. In my booking strategy or booking mindset, I would not book Amber Moon to beat Ronda Rousey for the Women's Championship, but it would be a good matchup. And she's earned it. So, in my opinion, yeah, she would have been the perfect fit for a one-on-one match opportunity, but no way in hell is she going to win. So that's all I have to say on that subject. Another person they could have picked was Asuka. Asuka would have been a perfect opponent for Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is now the new retained her women's championship later on that night. So, I mean, with all that standing, that would have been a good matchup and a new storyline for Becky Lynch to work on. It also would help Asuka get back on her winning ways and in a better light than what she's become since losing to Carmella a bunch of times. Which, my God, they might as well should have just thrown the dirt on her and fucking threw away the shovel to not dig her back up. Jesus Christ. Then we had the Mae Young finals on this, and this matchup, Toni Storm versus Aqua Sherry, or IQ Sherry, I don't know how to pronounce her first name, but the last name I can't pronounce. Sherry versus Storm. Awesome fucking women's matchup. Good technical wrestling. Not a whole lot of botched moves. I don't think I saw hardly any kind of botched moves going on in this matchup. And I gotta tell you guys, it was fucking brutal. Really hard combat, connecting strikes with each other. Back and forth action. Sherry tried to hit the moonsault, which is her finishing maneuver. She ends up eating knees, and then Toni Storm picks up a modified powerbomb maneuver that I forgot the name of her finisher. Please excuse me for that. But yeah, she hits her finisher on Sherry to pick up the victory and walk away victorious. Great matchup overall. Entertaining as fuck. Back and forth action. Classic wrestling at its finest. So no complaints there. I hope Toni Storm becomes a big name in WWE and moves on to do bigger and better things than just winning a tournament. I definitely see a lot of potential in her, and I definitely see her moving into bigger things in her career, like performing in front of 60 to 70, maybe even 80,000 people for a WrestleMania matchup. So that definitely is going to happen at some point in her career. Mark my words on that. Unless something drastically bad happens to her, like she gets a major injury that puts her out of wrestling. But other than that, she's definitely WrestleMania quality caliber type chick. Let's see here. We had a tag team matchup. Oh God, six-woman tag team matchup for the 50 millionth time with the Riot Squad versus Natalya, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. Yeah, you can tell how entertaining and hyped up I was after watching this matchup. Complete utter crap. This is something you could have went ahead and took a piss break for. Even though the action looked pretty entertaining, it wasn't worth your fucking time because it's been done 50 million different ways to hell. So, does it really matter to me? No. Did it mean anything? No. Sasha Banks and Bayley and Natalya pick up a victory. Woohoo, whoop-de-doo. Ruby Riott keeps eating L's being on a fucking loser-ass team. And we keep getting the bullshit continuing with WWE's Raw main roster for women wrestling. So, nothing seems to change even with a fucking women's pay-per-view. Which, by the way, is why this show was not evolutionary. It wasn't something that stood out to me. Was it good entertainment-wise? Yes, it was. But it was nothing groundbreaking. It was nothing that got me to go, holy shit, and it was because it was not organic to the eye. To the person who's viewed this shit on a consistent basis, this was not something organic. And I will tell you why before I end this video. So, moving back into the matches. We then had Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. This matchup was fucking awesome like the first one. Only this time, Kairi Sane really did not lose this match. She got screwed by the other two women that were by the barricade, who are former MMA fighters, being two of the four women horsemen of MMA. So, that led to these two women interfering in the matchup, helping Shayna Baszler win. Overall, in-ring action, very good, very much like the first one. If you saw the first one at Brooklyn, for TakeOver Brooklyn, then you know exactly what was going on with this one. This matchup was very good technician wrestling. Shayna Baszler chose a body part this time around to soften up Kairi Sane. She literally looked like she was trying to take her arm with her besides the title. Like, literally, Shayna Baszler looked like she wanted to take Kairi's arm completely off her body, and not just take the title from her, but her body part with her. It was pretty fucking sick. These two women definitely had a good matchup. It was one of the top matches in this card. It was probably the second best match on the night overall. So, yeah, these women tore into each other back and forth. Great action. Very entertaining stuff. And at the end of the day, Shayna Baszler wins because of too much outside interference, and Kairi Sane just falls asleep after a rear naked choke maneuver. So that was it. So once again, we get a match finish that makes the person who won the match not really look like the winner. Kairi Sane got a weak-ass finish over Shayna Baszler, and now Shayna Baszler's got a weak-ass finish over Kairi Sane with outside interference being involved. So at the end of the day, neither one, in my opinion, really picked up a victory over the other. They got fucked. They either fucked themselves or there was outside interference that fucked them. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. These two women, in my eye, did not really beat each other in either one of these matches. They got beat themselves. So that's really all there is to say on that matchup itself. Now, let's see here. We then had the SmackDown Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, last woman standing match. There were some botches in this match, but overall, this matchup was hard-hitting, brutal, intense. You could feel somewhat of a hatred towards the two characters. Even though you knew in real life these two really like each other and they care about each other as friends, they displayed a Triple H Rock type of feeling towards you as the audience. They gave you the idea that these two women hate each other's fucking guts. And they did a very good job of that. In building up to it, they did a good job to it. So, kudos to them for that. The thing that I noticed was Charlotte really needs to stop doing the high-flying maneuvers like Shawn Michaels type shit. She cannot do it. And here's the reason why. She sets Becky Lynch up in a table spot. She climbs up to the top rope, hits the moonsault, and misses going through the table. She goes to the side of the table, hitting Becky Lynch. The table falls down. Becky Lynch falls down. The table doesn't break. So they have to redo the entire spot over again for Charlotte to hit so that this time the table will break. Not good. Not good at all. One, I noticed that she set the table up a little too close to the corner. She should have moved the table back a little bit further back so that she would have more flight and elevation to push off the ropes to go further back. That's the reason why she missed the entire move in the first place. She's misjudging the maneuver and hitting the move a little too far out from where her opponents are. That's where her issue is with the moonsault. In all honesty, she really should stop with the moonsaults altogether. They look good, they're performed very well, but they're executed poorly because she misshoots the maneuver. She goes a little too far behind, a little too far ahead, and she'll either be short or too far back to hit the maneuver perfectly, where she doesn't have to redo the maneuver over again, such as like in this spot we saw here at this event. So that's my issue with Charlotte during this matchup. Overall, Charlotte displayed a very good and good display of selling Becky Lynch to me. She sold me that Becky Lynch was kicking her fucking ass, and of course she was. Charlotte did a very good job beating her ass, and Becky Lynch sold her very well in convincing me, being part of the audience, that her ass was getting kicked. And she was getting her ass kicked from moments that she was on the defense while Charlotte was on the offense. Everything was done correctly, and it felt like a main event style type matchup. The only thing, and I couldn't believe that no one noticed this. The referee didn't notice it. The announcers didn't notice it. I couldn't believe this. Charlotte got powerbombed off the top rope on the outside of the ring through a table that was set up. She was trying to hit another moonsault. Thank God that didn't go through, because if that would have happened, she probably would have botched and killed herself. Or killed Becky in the process. I don't know. But she got powerbombed on the outside of the ring, through the table, onto the floor. Now, you would think she ain't fucking moving. She ain't going nowhere. She's flat on her ass, done and out. You could have said she got a concussion. You could say she broke her fucking back. You could say whatever you want to convince the audience why she couldn't get up. And really, they should have went with some kind of injury to explain why Charlotte couldn't get up. Because at the end of this matchup, as the referee was coming close to 10, Charlotte was on her tippy toes. Her fucking tippy toes. I don't know why nobody noticed this, but she was on her tippy toes. That breaks the count altogether. So, why that happened, I don't know. The count should have discontinued and restarted if she would have fell back down again. But that was the major issue with that match. But as a overall presentation to me, for a wrestling match, for main event quality, that was it. That was the best match of the night. Whether you like these two women or you don't like them, whether, I said that there was botches, and yes, there was. But it was very good. The storylines were driven in this matchup. You could feel an actual effort produced in this matchup, as well as in the storyline itself. It was the only fucking storyline that was actually given effort. Now, Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler, yes, it was. But it was based off of just pure competition. There was nothing of deep hatred for the other. There was no conflicting, emotional feelings towards each other. It was just pure competition at its finest, which was another decent storyline that they used. This one, though, is predicated highly on emotional hatred for one another to who is the more successful person. And Becky Lynch was pissed off in the place that she was in, rightfully so. And it just was built off of all of this and her turning into an asshole. And a very good one at that. Because she's now, and the fans chanted, Stone Cold Becky. That's her gimmick. She's playing it well, and she's very likable. And after a matchup like this, you could see it in the look in her eye. I don't know if this was part of the storyline or was just allowing her to break character for this event. She was raising the title up and nodding her head at her former best friend. In the sense of approval, like, you got my respect kind of thing. And honestly, I think they should go with that. I think they should keep her being this stone cold anti-hero type gimmick. But enough with the running away with the title. Have some fucking balls, compete in the match, and play as a face, but have the attitude of like Stone Cold Steve Austin type deal. That's what she needed. She needed a character change. She needed her character to evolve and become something better than what she once was, which is now getting her over as what she is. So that's all I have to say on that. So, then we get to the main event. Nikki Bella, Ronda Rousey, Raw Women's Championship. The match sucked. Ronda Rousey should have beat her ass in less than a minute, and that's it. There is nothing believable about that matchup. This match should have never been in the main event. It should have never even happened. They could have given this title match to Natalya. Like I said earlier, Chyna was still alive. She would have been the best female wrestler to bring back as a past wrestler and have her perform at this event. Because if anything, Chyna was one of the greats. She competed against men. Now, I see that in Ronda Rousey at some point. I see her eventually facing a male wrestler and making it look believable and giving us one hell of a ride to see her compete against a male wrestling competitor. That I would definitely pay money to see. But Nikki Bella was a poor choice. She was horrible. She was botching all over the place. Having her sister involved was just downright degrading as well. Making her look like she has no fighting chance at all, which she didn't anyway. So, I guess worth noting that I guess that was the right thing to do. But it wasn't going to be believable her winning the title, so who fucking cares? And match sucked. We had 15 minutes worth of fucking in-ring action between these two women. And Ronda Rousey could have gotten a hell of a lot better performance from another chick to wrestle with her. Sorry to say, but they're doing Ronda Rousey more harm than good. They're giving her shitty-ass fucking matches with crappy opponents who have no fucking build to their character, or they're just fucking low down, nothing that can relate to Ronda Rousey as a match towards a matchmaking equivalent technician wrestler. Nikki Bella is a horrible technician wrestler. She's a pretty face with big tits, nice ass. She belongs on reality TV for every guy who's single to go jerk off to. That's who Nikki Bella is. Ronda Rousey ain't just some good-looking chick. She's a chick that can kick your fucking ass. So, get her with another chick who knows how to do something similar, or at least makes it look believable that she can. And Natalya was definitely one of those women. Natalya is a technician wrestler. They could have had them in grappling, chain grappling, all kinds of shit. And they just did not pull the trigger on that. And it was definitely something noteworthy of, because of the fact of their Jim Neidhart passing away, her father, and her actually getting to say, hey, I'm going to dedicate this matchup, win or lose, I dedicate this to my dad, and give her a hell of a fucking matchup with Ronda Rousey. And them at the end of the matchup, celebrating in the middle of the ring, giving each other a hand of approval, shaking each other's hands, giving each other a hug, go up the ramp, and celebrate with the rest of the roster that was there. That's what we should have seen. Not no stupid fucking pathetic little crappy attempt divas versus women wrestling. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. That's the problem. And the thing that made this, and I said I was going to mention this before I close this video, the reason why this thing does not feel organic, this event Evolution, is because in less than a few days, we're going to be seeing a matchup, a pay-per-view show again on Friday afternoon at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called Crown Jewel. And the reason why is the women are not allowed to perform in fucking Saudi Arabia. So why did they do this? Real simple, to give the women something to fucking do so they're not sitting out once again because of Saudi Arabia's rules to women not performing in the middle of a ring. We go ahead and we're talking about women having equality like men and being as good as men in everything that they do. But yet we got WWE going to Saudi Arabia and giving us a show with no WWE Women's Championship matches, no in-ring competition of any kind of rivalry of any sort with two women competing against each other. None of that. That's why this Women's Evolution pay-per-view doesn't mean shit. It's a consolation prize to the women because we're like, oh, we're sorry. WWE's like saying, we're sorry. We can't take you to Saudi Arabia because they don't like you people to actually perform in front of their audience because they don't believe in women actually doing anything like the men. That's why this Women's Evolution means nothing. WWE goes 1 foot forward, 20 feet back. That's the problem. Was this an evolutionary idea? Yes. WWE has never done this before, giving women an all-women's pay-per-view. But then when you throw another pay-per-view 5 days later to an event where women aren't even allowed to perform, not because WWE chooses not to put the women on the card, but because the country that they're performing in doesn't believe in women having the capability to perform in front of an audience. Yep. And WWE signed a contract with those motherfuckers. It shows that WWE don't give a flying fuck about women. They don't give a fuck about their talent. And they sure as hell don't give a fuck about any kind of moral idea of how their company should be run. Now this makes me kind of question to myself, why do I even bother watching this product? It's real simple, guys. I like professional wrestling. I like the talent that they have. It's just the way they conduct their business and who's running it is the issue. It's like, I love the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. I have multiple Dallas Cowboy jerseys. I have Emmitt Smith. I have Terrell Owens. I got Roy Williams, who was a former safety on the Cowboys at one point back in the early 2000s and what have you. And I hate Jerry Jones. And the reason why I hate Jerry Jones is because he cannot run the fucking team the proper way. He drafts people that have problems with their personal lives. They're in and out of trouble with the law. all kinds of shit, and he believes he can change their ways. Don't go ahead and sign fucking talent that have trouble issues with the law, because it's all it's going to bring is trouble to your team. That's the issue. And this is the thing. WWE is trying to get involved with a country that does not believe in women performing in front of a crowd. They do not believe in women's rights. All they're doing is giving WWE millions of dollars so that they can have events performed in front of their audience, so that they can be entertained and feel, I guess, in a sense, like the rest of the world does when WWE performs in front of them, or at least some of the countries that do get WWE to perform in front of them, to forget their horrible problems and lives that they're living in this horrible fucking country called Saudi Arabia. So that's my overall opinion. That is my reason towards why I dislike this Women's Evolution. If it wasn't for the Saudi Arabia event happening, and it just was happening because the women were getting their own pay-per-view event, I would not be saying this was a failure of a show. This was a decent show, entertaining stuff. They had 3 or 4 really good matches. The rest of the show could have been worked on and done a lot better. But at the end of the day, it was a decent show. But it was not successful because it did not get to its actual point. Because of Crown Jewel, it will never receive that success that it needed to get its point across. It did not get its point across. It was a consolation prize to the women's roster. That's it. Simple as that. Leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you liked the video, and hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And thanks a lot for watching. Bye.